Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I am going to be drawing an apple. Let's do some composition sketches, and then I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of using a viewfinder for your art. I'm just simulating the page next to me, doing some quick thumbnails. Okay, these are this page. So I'm going to be drawing an apple. It is spherical. I can just do the apple in the center. I'm going to be splitting this in half. Half of this will be colored pencil, half will be ink, so mixed media. Asymmetrical. And then I can split it in half this way, so it's not completely centered on the page. You get this really nice negative space situation going around. So here's sort of a cut-off version of it. I could do two like this, where one is colored pencil, one is ink, so repetition. And then all of these are supposedly to actual size. This is probably not big enough to be actual size, but let's pretend it was. And for the fourth one, I could draw it on a branch, you know, the apple, there's leaves, typically, sometimes there's little flowers, like I could go all in with the context. So, tree. Okay. I am probably gonna do this one. I really like it hanging off the edge. I have a pencil board here. It's pretty grody. So I want to talk a little bit about viewfinders. Now, I have a couple actually. So I have this one I made, which is just a thick cardstock, and I just cut this with an X-Acto blade. And I have this one that I found as part of a fence. It looks really cool when I hold it up to a lens of a camera and then focus through the shot at a picture. This is also a style of viewfinder, just a natural made one. Now, so the benefits of this is this helps you make a better composition. So you want to focus on the specifics of the context of what you're going to draw. You use this for emphasis. You want to find what is of special importance within your drawing. So, should the emphasis be on the green cap? Should it be a part of it? All of it? Should we get part cap, part pen? Okay. And orientation. So this helps determine the position. Do I want this vertical? Do I want it more horizontal? What kind of sketchbook am I drawing in? How do I have my sketchbook oriented? So for this sketchbook, I am choosing to use it vertically. Everything is vertical. I'm not then going to suddenly do a horizontal composition. I'm just going to crop what I have so everything stays the same way, so the viewer doesn't have to constantly go like this. Okay, it's part of the design, the curation of my sketchbook. But a viewfinder can help you with that. The other really cool thing about viewfinders is they can help you isolate color and sort of frame and look at this. So if I lay this down, you really see how white the lectern is compared to this viewfinder. Now your viewfinder doesn't have to be white. You can make, if you don't have any thick cardstock, a lot of pre-packaged foods come in cardboard containers. Think cereal, think pastas, things like that. You can always cut it out from the tab, from the back, whatever. You can even paint it titanium white, or you could paint it black or a mid-range value of gray. And it really helps you see and identify the individual colors. So you're comparing it to the white. You can really identify how red that red is. Okay? How green that green is. I'm getting a little bit of both for the complement. Okay? That is the value of using a viewfinder. Again, if you find one in nature, that's kind of fun too. but it can really help if you're going to add context, if you're going to add background. Think about how you use your cell phone when you take a picture with your cell phone. I'm assuming you have one and that it's a smart one. You know, a lot of assumptions there. Or just a regular snap and go digital camera. How you focus, how you zoom, how you move things around to figure out which part you want to have included for context, okay? And that's something you can make. You don't have to buy one. I will link one that you can purchase on Amazon if you should feel so inclined. But again, you can make one, you can find one. So, I just want to have a little chat about that. I brought 2 apples up with me. This is a neighbor apple, and he doesn't know what kind he's growing. And this one, my husband purchased because he wanted to try it. This is a king apple. And I'm not sure which one I want to draw. I kind of think I want to draw this one just because it has all the colors. You know what I mean? That's really pretty. So we need to make sure we're getting top, make sure we're getting the bottom. We're getting this to size here. I want to make sure I'm getting a huge chunk of the apple. Now I am going to fudge a little piece of information for this illustration. I am going to add a stem because I really don't want anybody questioning what this is. Now I'm not going to add a leaf. I have enough illustrations in my book, in this botanical sketchbook. Oh no, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me, I sneezed. Sorry about that. I have enough illustrations in here that are just all leaves, and that is sort of the emphasis and the concentration of that illustration, especially, you know, the previous one, just leaves. So for this, I want it to be just the fruit. Let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that. I think I'm having a little bit of an allergy today. Okay, so here is my apple. I want the pencil lines pretty light. I'm going to cover them up. It's just a standard green apple. So it's up to me now to decide how red the little boo-boos. Do I want to include some of this yellowish? Do I want a little bit of that green on top? I absolutely do. Absolutely do. I want all the colors. I want as many colors as I can squeak into this thing while still doing a really dark red for the shadow. Then obviously there's going to be a little bit of highlight. See the highlight that goes across? Okay. It's not going to be pure white page. This is just going to be lighter yellow, or if it's on the red, it's going to be a pale pink. Okay? Venetian red. A dusky pink. So that is how I'm doing this. And apples are in season. There's charts. Maybe I'll find a chart for you of tartness or sweetness, depending on, you know, where your interests lie. I really like Granny Smith. That's my favorite. I'll link one of my favorite apple recipes too, should you feel so inclined. I don't think I have any pictures. The one thing I don't photograph a lot is food. So I love capturing moments of our life, of the kids growing, things like that. But I rarely ever take a picture of food unless it's like the birthday cakes that my kids have made. And my kids make some fabulous birthday cakes. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So there is a hand-rolled rosemary and apple hand pies. And the dough has the rosemary in it, and then there's apples on the inside. That is one of my favorite apple recipes. My kids tried, because they go on Pinterest too a little bit. They don't have an account, they just peek through mine. But they tried that apple thing where you make sort of really thin slices and you roll it up in muffin tin holes. And it's like they're little roses. That was really cool. It's harder to do than it looks, I'm guessing. I don't know. They like doing baking and cooking and things for chemistry. So there's that. You're like, what are you doing at home? Well, one, teaching them a life skill, because food is for everybody. Food's universal. And two, it is very much chemistry. So, science. So I will link some of those things if you're interested in some really unique apple making things. Since apples. Maybe you squish yours and juice them and cider them and do hot mulled cider and cold cider, and there's so many different ways and things to do with apples. There is that age-old adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. There is arsenic in apple seeds. Don't eat apple seeds. Just feel a need to say that. Can you start an apple tree from an apple seed from a random apple? Not necessarily. Yeah. Growing. Growing things from things. I have started tomatoes from tomato seeds from grocery store stuff. I have done that with potatoes. I've done that with garlic. I've done that with onions, celery, pineapple. Pineapple takes like 5 years, and I don't think our area is warm enough, so it would have to be indoor or greenhouse to try and regrow pineapple. But I have never been able to grow an apple from an apple seed, so I just don't think some of them are made like that. Besides, some apples you have to have more than one. They have to cross-pollinate. Some are self-pollinating. Like there's some things that go into growing apples. If that is, you know, a rabbit hole you want to fall down with research and reading and stuff. It's not as convoluted as like trying to do avocados. That's a whole thing. We are very much able to root and grow avocados, but you need like an A and a B, and it's everything sounds so simple, and you're like, yeah, just stick it in water, it'll be fine. And then it's, you know, it's not fine. So, but tomatoes are a fun one because you can literally just slice a tomato and lay it on a patch of potting soil, like the actual tomato slice, a thin slice, and water it, and the seeds start to sprout. Now you will have to thin it, or they will fight and compete and get kind of leggy. But you can totally grow a tomato. And you're like, no, you need bees to pollinate to make the fruit. You don't. So with tomatoes and strawberries, you can flick the flower. Once it comes to flowers, you flick it and it disperses the pollen, and then a fruit will start to grow. If you're worried about the power of your flick, you can always take an electric toothbrush behind a tomato flower, turn it on, and the vibration will wiggle loose the pollen of a tomato flower. So yeah, we have grown tomatoes in the wintertime indoors. It is a fun, unique experience. I typically do like cherries just because they're small. And I have some huge pots. That's easier than doing like a huge heirloom or something. But yeah. Gardening. It can be fun. You can force things. You can trick things. You can trick things into believing different seasons are happening when they're not happening. So. I'm going to go a little bit darker and darker and darker and darker for the layers. Get a nice clean edge here. Apple. Apples. Apple pie. I know a lot of people put pears in their apple pie. I'm trying to think if I know any other tricks. A graham cracker crust tastes really good with a homemade apple pie. If you are looking for some fun, unique ways to spice up your apple pie. Apple crumble. Apple dumplings, apple turnovers. Oh gosh, there's so many ways to do apple. I can't. Pinterest is free. I'm not sponsored by anybody. But if you wanted to create an account and then look up fun, unique ways of putting apple into your food, like maybe you do like Waldorf salads or something. You know. It doesn't have to be a dessert. If sugar's not your thing, it's not everybody's thing. Let's see, I want a dark red. So, applesauce, people tend to pair that with like pork dishes. If you're looking for something more savory. You can look for apple picking in your area if you'd like to pick straight from the trees. That's a ton of fun, especially during this season. I'm doing a pale green undertone here. It's all thoughts and ideas. That's a little yellow. It was all yellow. Apples. I can hear our dog. She's throwing a tantrum. We walk her twice a day for an hour each time, and sometimes she gets to romp in the forest with us, and sometimes we take her to the beach. So she is just being spoiled because my husband has a bunch of meetings. We've done so many training things with her, taking her to dog training. I love doing that. It's a lot of fun. So what I mean when I say, here it is. This is the, Venetian red. So this is $190, and this is like a dusky pink. There is another one that's pretty close, but it's much pinker, and this is the Pompeian red, $191. You see that's like a little pinker. This is a little duskier. This is great as a lighter tone in between reds. Can you see how that really is working for me? Now I'm just pushing down as hard as I can so we can't see any of the white page. I love Venetian red. It looks like an apple. And that's what we're going for. So I'm just going to keep on keeping on drawing, and consider making or finding or looking up weird, unique uses of viewfinders, because it can really, really help with composition. You're drawing compositions as warm-up exercises, as working on strengthening your illustrations so they're stronger and more interesting. Have a viewfinder if you go out in nature, if you like urban drawing and drawing architecture, and really think about capturing individual spires or flying buttresses or moldings versus the door or the window. You know what I mean? You could really isolate, move things around. You could stretch it all the way out and draw things that are really, really tiny for landscapes, and see which has the most interesting color combinations and views and things that draw your eye in. It'll strengthen your art. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.